What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to our Chicago Bears franchise here on Madden 17. We are in year 3, week 9 to be exact, of our Chicago Bears franchise. This is the bye week episode, which I will basically just go over all the player statistics through the first however many games we played before the bye week. This time it happened to be exactly 8 games. So the first half of the season, essentially. And we'll go over that, and I'll look at the standings. We'll probably do the standings first. And then, just kind of look at, just basically recap the first half of the season in terms of looking at injuries and like I said, the stats and stuff like that. And we'll see how we're doing as a team in terms of points allowed and all that stuff. As well as maybe take a look at some of the league leaders. We'll just kind of keep you involved with the whole league and all that stuff. So, taking a look at the NFC North, the Packers and Vikings are tied right now for first at 5-2, and the Lions are a half game back at 5-3. I believe they're on a bye week this week, like we are, but the Packers and Vikings will be in action, so that could be for first place. And then we are in last place at 4-4, which we're at 500. Everyone in the division is at 500, so I guess that's pretty good, but hopefully we can get on a roll here in the second half and try to get this division, because we're only 1.5 games back. 2 games in the loss column, 1 game in the win column, so it's a game and a half. Not too bad. We can make that up, especially with another matchup against both the Packers and Vikings. We are done with the Lions for the year. We played them in week 1 and week 3, so we got to kind of hope they lose as we win and kind of see what happens. But as for the other two in the division, we can play a hand in them losing at least one game as long as we get the W on them. We lost to the Vikings in week 2, but we did beat the Packers a couple weeks ago. So, we'll see what happens in the second half. Hopefully we can get things going. We'll take a look at the NFC, kind of just see where we're at. The way it looks right now, the Panthers have the 1 seed at 6-2. The Falcons would have the first bye, Sorry about that. The first wild card would go to the Falcons, and apparently the Packers have the tiebreaker over the Vikings, so they would be the 2 seed with the bye. Panthers getting a bye in, home field advantage. And then the Vikings would be the second wild card. Cowboys would be the 3 seed at 5-2. Lions would be on the outside looking in, as would the Saints, and then the Seahawks would actually be the 4 seed at 3-4. So we would be currently in 9th place. 2 teams ahead of us that are also out of the playoffs because the NFC West is terrible this year. So we're in 9th place right now. We got some winning we got to do if we want to make it the playoffs here in our 3rd season. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'll let you know kind of as the season goes on how we're doing. Maybe do some Badger Sports reports in a few weeks to recap kind of the next, month or so. And let you know where we're at in the standings as far as that goes. So now on to the player stats for our team. Aaron Rose currently through 8 games is thrown for 2,049 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 9 picks in his rookie year. So he's on pace for 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. I'd like to cut down on the picks. The touchdown, that's great for a rookie. The yards, that's great for a rookie. He has thrown the ball 323 times, so he's on pace for 646 attempts. But 446 completions is not bad. So 69% completed passes. Pretty much the benchmark for that is like 70. So he's right there. He's not doing bad. He's averaging 256 yards a game and a quarterback rating of 88.8. So that's not bad at all. He's actually having a pretty good rookie year. Of course, he has been fumbling a lot. We'd like to cut that down. But other than that, he's had a pretty good rookie season for us. Jeremy Langford now, as you remember, he got injured. He'll be back in week 9 against the Cardinals. He's had 106 attempts for 326 yards, 65 yards a game. Not the best. He's kind of having a down year, and he's in a contract year and that's why I haven't actually re-signed him yet. Kind of waiting to see how the season plays out. And honestly, we don't have a whole lot of cap space right now. We're at like $8 million, so we really can't afford to sign people this year. And so there's a very good chance Langford will not be back next year. I think Kadeem Carey is more than capable of carrying the load. I'm not sure about Bowden yet. He fumbles a lot, and he's not doing too well average-wise, 2.3 yards a carry. Same with Scroggins. But I do have a lot of faith in Kadeem Carey. I think he could lead the way for us. At least, maybe get a guy in the draft too. But there's a very good chance that Langford won't be back next year. But like I said, he's going to play these last 8 games. Hopefully, he can stay healthy on the field. And we'll see what happens with that. Bowden, 50 attempts, 115 yards. Got that rushing touchdown in our Week 8 win at the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. Kadeem Carey, he's also injured. He's been out for a month. He's expected back, I think, in 2 or 3 more weeks. But he only has 74 yards. 3 fumbles. Scroggins, 12 for 29. So not too great, but, Langford's back, so hopefully we don't have to worry about running backs too much for the rest of the season. Corey Spate, our free agent signing that we signed, he must have been an undrafted rookie, I'm assuming, and someone signed him to a 1-year deal, and then they didn't re-sign him, so we signed him in free agency. He actually leads our ball club with 48 catches here through the first 8 games. Langford is second with 41. Spate has 258 yards, no touchdowns. Langford, 308 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Alshon Jeffrey, 39 receptions, 554 yards, 5 touchdowns. So he's on pace for about 78 catches, little 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. I'll take that, I guess. Brendan Boren played 3 games. He got hurt in the very first game. His second game was the loss against the Patriots. He actually got hurt and left that game with a turf toe. Didn't miss any time, obviously, as you guys saw what he did in the Jets game with some big catches for us. So in the 3 games he's played, he's got 30 catches, 248 yards, and a touchdown. So he's averaging 10 catches a game, a third of a touchdown, and like 80 yards a game. So that's pretty good. I love him, the way he can catch. He has very good hands. And I'm very happy with our selection on him in the first round. Marquez Wilson, ever since we traded Josh Gordon after the first, I think we traded him after week 2. Something like that, maybe week 3. He's got 27 catches, 234 yards, a couple touchdowns. He has played phenomenal for us. I am super happy we have him. I just re-signed him last year, I believe. So we have him for a little while. And I think he could be a great slot guy for us as we continue to develop Kevin White. And obviously, Alshon Jeffrey, we locked him up as well. So our receiving core is looking pretty good. Kevin White, only 12 catches, but he does have 267 yards and 4 touchdowns. I was passing the ball a lot these last couple weeks because we didn't have Langford. Now that Langford's back, we won't be passing the ball as much. But we still will. We're going to keep the playbook. I changed playbooks, basically what it was. So there's a lot more options passing-wise. We had a lot more 4 receiver sets and so forth. So we're gonna keep that package, but I'm gonna run the ball a little more than I have been because it's been working. We did lose to the Patriots, but we moved the ball a lot better than we had been doing for like the first month. So we're gonna keep that in play for now. And Kevin White should get more catches. He had 6 catches through the first 6 games, and he's had 6 in the last 2. So his catching production has gone up. So we'll see what we're doing with that. We'll keep it up, I guess, until it doesn't work, and then we'll figure something else out, I guess. Marcus Bowden, 8 for 37. Miller, 5 for 49. He's the third string tight end, so we don't expect much from him. But he has done some pretty good plays blocking for us, and he had that clutch first down catch that pretty much iced the game against the Jets last week on Monday Night Football. So a very good third string tight end, so I can't complain there. Kadeem Carey, 4 for 26, and Will Johnson, the fullback, had that 1 catch for 5 yards. Moving on to the sacks and stuff, Thomas Vickers has kind of been just to put it bluntly, he's been pissing me off. He has been giving up sacks left and right. He's got 9 sacks given up in 8 games. That's horrible. It's more than 1 a game. He's played the most downs for us tied with Kyle Long. And I signed him because I wanted to develop him. And, maybe we still will, but we'll have to see where he's at after the season. I definitely would have no problem drafting a left guard if I could find one in the draft that's going to be better than him. He has really disappointed me this year, but he's going to keep starting because Quentin Spann is even worse. So we'll go with Vickers, see what happens. Hopefully he gets better in the second half. Kyle Long's only given up 4. Donald Penn, 4. Donald Penn's been a pretty good signing for us. Obviously, we're going to have to address... I really do plan on addressing left tackle in the draft because we're not going to re-sign him. We don't have the money, and he's getting worse as the season goes on. Frank Jeffers only allowed 2 sacks. He's been pretty good, as well as Martin Gay, the rookie, our 7th-round pick. He's been phenomenal, only giving up 1 sack all year in 8 games. And he's been great for us up the middle. He's pretty much been the only one protecting Aaron Rose. So I'd love, he's our center of the future easily. And, we could move him around too if we had to, I think. He seems to have the blocking skills to pretty much play anywhere on the field. Moving on to defense, Leonard Floyd leads our team in tackles with 49. Love to see that. Danny Trevathan, 43. Xavier Holloway, who had a monster game against the Jets just now, 2 interceptions, like 7 tackles, something like that. He's got 41. Adrian Amos, 36, and Akeem Hicks with 34. Defensive tackle is in the top 5. I mean, he has been a monster. Tackles for loss, he has 16 tackles for loss through 8 games. He's averaging 2 tackles for loss a game. Pernell McPhee has 12. Leonard Floyd with 9. Freeman with 9. Holloway with 8. That's pretty good for a safety considering he doesn't come up much. So to have 8, that's pretty good for him. He's averaging 1 a game. In the sack department, we've been getting pressure all year. That's been our bread and butter on defense, is getting pressure on the quarterback, making him turn the ball over. And, our secondary has been a little disappointing, so it's pretty good that at least we're getting pressure up front. We're getting a lot of sacks. Akeem Hicks and Leonard Floyd both have 6 apiece. Jarrell Freeman has 5. Bullard, 4.5. Pernell McPhee, 4. Goldman, 3. Rookie Sean Cloud playing for the injured Jonathan Bullard, who is expected back in a few weeks. But Sean Cloud, he tore up the preseason, if you guys remember. He was really good. He had like 6 sacks in 4 games. He's been playing for us for Bullard while he's been out the last few weeks, and he's played pretty well. He's got 1.5 sacks to show for it. And, I mean, when Bullard wants money and we can't afford to pay him or don't want to pay him, I mean, Cloud could easily be his replacement. I definitely plan on keeping him around for a while. Rashard Cribbs, 1.5 sack for him. Trevathan with a 0.5 sack, and Gregory Kelvin with a 0.5 sack. Cribbs has been very good for us. Very good signing. Cheap signing. Very reliable. With the Kyle Fuller injury, however, he's had to play slot into the nickel as opposed to just the third down guy. He's in there pretty much all the time now because I do play a lot of nickel coverage. But he played well this last game against the Jets, so can't complain. On to interceptions. Xavier Holloway and Adrian Amos both have 3 on the year. Holloway had 2 on that Monday night game against the Jets. Amos had 1. So our safeties, which arguably are our 2 best secondary players, probably not arguably, easily our 2 best secondary players, with 3 apiece. Kyle Fuller with an interception. So we got 7 interceptions through 8 games as a team. I think last year we only had maybe 6 or 7 all year. So we're definitely doing better there. It's a work in progress. Obviously, they're not going to become Super Bowl, All-Star, amazing Pro Bowler, Hall of Fame credential players all overnight. But, we're working on it. I'm pretty proud of them this year. They're doing all right. They could be better, though. They tick me off a little bit, but for the most part, they're all right. Darrell Freeman with 2 forced fumbles. Danny Trevathan, 2 forced fumbles. Holloway, Hicks, Leonard Floyd, McPhee, and Sean Cloud with a forced fumble of their own. No fumble recoveries, apparently. Pretty sure that's not true because we've gotten fumble recoveries. Xavier Holloway with our only defensive touchdowns. He had that pick six in the loss to Buffalo. I can show you punting, though. Pat O'Donnell, 43 punts, 1,900 yards. Net average of 37.1. That's not bad. He's had one blocked, which was just that last game, or 2 games ago, the loss of the Patriots. He's had punts within the 6. He's had 6 punts within the 20. It's pretty good. 7 touchbacks. Longest was a 66-yard punt. He's doing pretty good. Kick return, Marcus Bowden, our rookie tailback. He's doing pretty good. He's averaging 24 yards per return on kick returns. He's almost broke a couple and got tripped up. But he's playing really well for us in that spot. Punt return as well, averaging 19.6, which is not easy to do for punt returns. 20 punt returns for 392 yards. Longest is a 31. What was his longest kick return? Oh, I guess 32. That was the one he fielded it at like the 20 and ran it across midfield, though. So gave us great field position. Going to take a look now at the passing yards, just kind of around. We'll look at league leaders for stats around the league. Passing yards, second year man out of Louisville, Everett Pettigout for the Dallas Cowboys. Leading the NFL with 2,100 passing yards. Brock Osweiler, 2,140. Blake Bortles, 2,055 in third. And our rookie Aaron Rose leading the NFL, or fourth in the NFL in passing. And then Shane Cheek, who we just played against the Patriots, he got lucky against us. He had some lucky passes. I don't want to talk about it. I'm still mad. But he is also in the top 5. So it looks like him and Rose could get their respective conferences Rookie of the Year, at least early on. Looking at passing touchdowns, Andy Dalton leading the NFL with 16. They won the Super Bowl last year. He got MVP. Brock Osweiler, Roethlisberger, Winston, Newton, Matt Ryan, and Robert Griffin all with 15. Pettigout, our guy Rose, Rivers, and Palmer with 14. So Rose is like tied for third, I guess. This ain't going to work, so I show you 0. It's going to show people that don't play. Mike Glennon leads the NFL with 14 interceptions. Winston has 11. Rose has the third most, tied with Breeze and Petty with 9. So, yeah, we definitely want to cut that down. Completion percentage, this is not going to work either because these guys don't play. I'll have to wait till I get... Okay, like this guy, Phillip Rivers, he leads... I said this guy as if I didn't know who Phillip Rivers was. Phillip Rivers leads the NFL in completion percentage among qualified quarterbacks with 71%. Aaron Rose is second, tied with Bortles for second. So he's pretty good. Let's give him Rookie of the Year, guys. Everett Pettigout, though, killing it in yards per game, 308. Bortles, 293. Shane Cheek got Rose in this one, 282. Where's Rose? He's what? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh with 256 yards a game. He's having a pretty good season. I thought it was pretty good when we were looking at it, but now that I'm looking at it against other quarterbacks in the league, he's actually having a really good season. Rushing yards, Le'Veon Bell leading the way with 731. McCoy has 701. Devontae Freeman, 631. Ezekiel Elliott, 557. Ronnie Hillman, 544. Running off the top 5. Gotta think if Langford was healthy, he'd be at least in the top 5, hopefully. As he did lead the NFL in rushing the last 2 seasons. Le'Veon Bell, though, look at that. Averaging 6.2 yards a carry. That's pretty good. Rushing touchdowns, LaShawn McCoy with 10. Bell and Hillman have 9. That means Hillman had 2 more last week, whoever they played. Because he had 7 against us. Raheem Frazier, we know all too well about him. He had 7. Zeke Elliott was 6. He's tied with Ingram, DeAndre Washington, Lamar Miller, and Spencer Ware. Le'Veon Bell averaging 91 yards a game. Freeman 90. McCoy 87.6. Elliott and Hyde both with 79. See who's coughed the ball up the most. Aaron Rose leads the NFL in fumbles. That's great. See, I told you we gotta clean that up. Okay, so receptions now among receivers. Allen Hurns leads the NFL 57. Corey Spate 48. Gary Barnidge 48. Julian Edelman 44. Antonio Brown 43. Yards, receiving yards, Julian Edelman has 720. Allen Hurns in second, 642. DeAndre Hopkins 632. AJ Green 607. Des Bryant 599. This guy, rookie, Rashawn Spadell, yeah, I thought he was. I remember the name. He's in 6th with 581, so that's pretty good. Jeffrey all the way down here in 9th with 554. We'll take that. Let's see if this works. It ain't gonna work. Kevin White leads the NFL with yards, receiving average per reception among people with, you know, a lot of, well, I guess he didn't have that many receptions, but he leads it with 22.3. Now, receiving touchdowns, that is a three-way tie between Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, and Des Bryant with 7. DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Perry, second-year man out of Georgia, with 6. And then Marcus Wheaton, Alshon Jeffrey, Jimmy Graham, DeAnthony Thomas, Kashawn Stinson, and Mike Evans and Allen Hurns have 5 in third. Okay, so I guess we're not as bad at our... I'm not as mad at Vickers now. Eric Flowers leading the NFL with 12 sacks allowed through... Well, he's only done through 7. He had a bye. Tom Compton, 11. Ulrich John. Where are we? There's Vickers. Yeah, he's got to knock that off. So in terms of tackles here, rookie Kevin Wendell. I actually wanted him, but he was taken, I think, before we could get to him in the second with our second pick. Leads the NFL with 75 tackles. Darren Lee with 74. Kevin Minter with 72. Alec Ogletree 69. McKinney 66. Jordan Hicks 65. Where's our first guy? I think we had someone in the 50s. Maybe Nadam. We don't have that many tackles as a team. Or, I mean, individually. We'll get to him eventually. Maybe. Holy crap. This, man. We had to have someone with more than 43. Are they just not going to show us? Yeah, we had people in the 40. I don't know what's going on here. Well, here'll be a trick. If it shows Akeem Hicks, yeah. They're not showing our defensive players for some reason. Because Akeem Hicks has 16 tackles for loss. Charles Johnson leads the NFL, though, with 9 sacks, tied with Aaron Donald. Tom Bali and Justin Houston with 8. Brandon Graham and Cameron Wake 7.5. Mike Daniels, Stephon Tuitt with 7. Randy Gregory, Jarrell Casey, Samuel Ledford with 6.5. So Akeem Hicks and Leonard Floyd would be tied with Ragland, Werner, Lawson, Ingram, Fowler Jr., Bennett, and Jenkins, Ali Jenkins, in the sack department. I don't know why it's not showing our defensive players. So with interceptions, Stephon Gilmore is tied with a whole bunch of people for first. Sean Smith, James Laurinaitis has 4. Darius Slay, that guy always has a bunch. Jason Verrett. So then Holloway and Amos would be tied with Dennard, Coleman, Norman, Ramsey, all these guys. Forced fumbles. Ryan Kerrigan's forced 4 fumbles. Slay, Casey, and Miller with 3. Pretty good. Nobody has more than 1 return or defensive touchdown. And now just a quick recap of the first half of the season and a little look at our remaining 8 games on the schedule. Week 1, we got the 16-14 win at the Lions. Lost 11-14 week 2 against the Vikings. And then lost to the Lions at home, 20-23. Went on the road and beat the Rams 30-17. Went on the road and beat the Packers 31-13. That was a huge game for us. Lost at the Bills 13-30. That was a rough one. Lost at home against the Patriots 20-30, and won on the road against the Jets 33-10. And I never even realized this till looking at it now. Pretty sure we are 0-3 at home on the season. So that means we're 4-1 on the road. The only road game we lost was at the Bills. So we're 0-3 at home, 4-1 on the road. That's not good. That should kind of be flipped, you'd think. In the second half of the season, just to kind of go over our opponents. This has been, I don't think I actually did that at the start of the year. But we're going to be taking on the Cardinals at home here in Week 10, which is the game that Langford should be returning to. And then we go to the Vikings, which will be a big game. And then at the Giants, they have a losing record, but, those are trap games. We got to win those. Then we host the Dolphins, Seahawks, and Falcons 3 in a row, which could be crucial. We got to win those games. Then we go to the 49ers, who I believe are struggling again. And we close out the season at home against the Packers. And there could very much be playoff implications on the line with that one. With that said, guys, that's going to do it for today's bye-week episode and kind of first half recap. If you went on to enjoy the video, please leave a like down below. Subscribe if you have not already for more of our Madden 17 Bears franchise here on the channel. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Till next time, peace.